Imagine walking into a high-level government office to start your workday with an assassin's bullet still lodged in your skull. That is the physical reality for Rinku Singh Rahi. Raised in a middle-class family, he rose through the ranks as a provincial officer in Uttar Pradesh, eventually exposing a 100 crore rupee scholarship scam in Muzaffarnagar in 2009. The retaliation was brutal. The local mafia fired 7 bullets at Rahi in a coordinated assassination attempt. He survived, but the encounter left him permanently disabled. He refused to retreat. Using the PwBD quota, Rahi cleared the civil service exams to become a 2022 batch IAS officer. He outlived the hitmen sent by the mafia. However, the administrative bureaucracy he fought so hard to join would eventually prove to be the more effective assassin of his career. Most bureaucracies function through constant compromise. When an entirely uncorruptible man enters that system, friction is inevitable. We are treating Rahi's tenure as an ethical stress test for the mechanics of power. To understand how the system eventually neutralized him, we need to audit 4 specific, impossible dilemmas he faced on the job. While serving as an SDM in Shahjahanpur, Rahi caught a lawyer's clerk urinating in public at the government office. He decided on a swift, unorthodox punishment. He forced the man to do sit-ups on the spot. From a consequentialist perspective, the move was successful. It established immediate discipline and sent a clear message to the public about the standards of the office. But the Constitution defines rigid boundaries. As an IAS officer, Rahi had no legal authority to issue physical punishments. His actions bypassed due process and violated the protections of human dignity found in Article 21. Even with good intentions, using unconstitutional means to achieve a result creates a precedent that actively erodes the rule of law. The punishment sparked a massive backlash. Local lawyers launched an aggressive protest, threatening to bring the entire administration to a halt. Rahi chose a radical de-escalation tactic. He walked out to the mob and performed sit-ups himself, apologizing to the crowd to end the standoff. One could see this as an act of profound emotional intelligence, a display of Gandhian humility that prevented a violent confrontation. However, there is an institutional cost. An IAS officer submitting to a mob signals that the government can be intimidated into bending, effectively damaging the dignity of the office. Personal moral humility can, in some cases, lead to institutional suicide. The system's response was a bureaucratic sidelining. Rahi was attached to the revenue board and left without any work assignments for 8 months. This is a silent suspension. He received his salary, but his utility was neutralized. Taxpayer money poured into a black box producing nothing. Ethically, this setup is a failure. It punishes an officer without transparent charges, while draining public funds. This tactic also creates a chilling effect. It informs every other officer that the reward for excessive honesty is not a promotion, but isolation. The administration didn't need to fire Rahi. By trapping him in a void where he had no power to act, they had already won. On March 31, 2026, Rahi reached a breaking point and resigned. He argued that accepting a full salary for doing no work was a moral compromise he could no longer make. Some view this as escapism. They argue that an officer's duty is to stay inside the system and fight using the High Court or Whistleblower Protection Act. Others see his resignation as a legitimate moral protest, a refusal to cooperate with a corrupt parallel system in order to bring the truth to light. It forces us to ask, is leaving a broken system a failure of duty or the only way to save your personal integrity? Rinku Singh Rahi's story is a tragic document of the friction between individual ethics and relentless systemic pressure. Based on the evidence, was his resignation a necessary exit or a missed opportunity to reform the system from within? Examine the ethics of his final move and let us know your verdict in the comments.